The sky over Carlson Cove was the colour of hammered pewter, streaked with gull white, when the first shrill rumour ricocheted along the pier. The festival was off. That declaration, drifting from lip to lip like sea foam, contradicted everything the town had worked toward for months. The Carlson Cove Ferry Folk Festival, 3 ferries lashed gunwale to form a floating stage, had always been equal parts maritime marvel and musical pilgrimage. Its 5th anniversary should have been a crescendo of fiddles, penny whistles, and boot heels rattling deck planks. Instead, shrugs replaced applause, and an unseasonable hush settled over the harbour. Captain Nora Banks stood on the hurricane deck of the Ida May, her primary ferry, binoculars pressed to her eyes. She counted gulls, masts, and anxious volunteers pacing the broad wharf. Nora's shoulders were square, and her ash-streaked hair knotted beneath a rust-red watch cap. For the past decade, she'd run every daylight crossing between the Cove's village harbour and Middleton Island, earning the respect of a town that measured worth by whether you could read currents the way other folks read fortune cookies. Nothing, not even last year's gale, had ever forced her to cancel sailings. Yet minutes ago her radio had sputtered the order, all departures on hold. From her vantage, she could just make out a knot of sheriff's deputies clustering near the fish house at the far end of the dock. They ringed a shape slumped against a piling, a man, thin as a bowstave, his hands limp, violin case flung open like a broken promise. It was Luka Mraz, the Croatian busker, whose fiery waltzes had become the festival's unofficial fanfare. His strings lay curled around him like shed snakeskins, each wire snipped clean near the bridge. The visual metaphor wasn't lost on Nora. A musician silenced, a festival muted. Cap, deckhand Celia Gaither, jogged up the companionway, cheeks blotched with wind. Sheriff Haskins's on Channel 9 says they need you ashore. Did he say why? Only that you're the one holding the keel steady around here. Celia's eyes flicked to the distant huddle, and that Luca's asking for you. Nora lowered her binoculars. Luca Mraz asking for her? Their interactions had been cordial but shallow, coffee traded for impromptu dockside serenades. Still, there was no ignoring a direct request from a wounded artist or a sheriff. She handed the glasses to Celia. "Keep the crew on standby," she said. "Lines secured, engines ready but silent. If the suspension lifts, I want Ida May moving in 5. "Yes, Cap." Nora descended the gangway, boots ringing the metal treads. As she strode along the pier, festival banners rattled overhead, bolts of kelp green cloth emblazoned with the ferry silhouette logo. Vendors who'd been unpacking folk art bracelets and funnel cake fryers at dawn now lingered beneath awnings, arms folded, trading murmurs. Nora met their gazes with a nod that tried to contain equal parts reassurance and confusion. Sheriff Tom Haskins tipped his hat when she approached. Half the town believed he wore the brim only to shade his bald spot rather than uphold authority, but today solemnity clung to him like sea mist. "Sorry to drag you into this, Captain," he said, voice pitched low so onlookers couldn't eavesdrop. Nora flicked her eyes over Luca. He sat propped against a piling, jaw clenched, gaze tracking ferries bobbing in place, as if the interruption pained him more than the gash on his forehead. An EMT dabbed iodine along the cut. "He needs stitches," Nora observed. "And questions answered," Haskins added, "but he won't talk till he sees you." Nora crouched. Luca's violin, a honey-coloured Maghini copy, lay beside him, its bridge intact, but every string had indeed been severed. Whoever did it hadn't taken the instrument, just its voice. Nora, Luca rasped, accent thickening with distress. My apology, first. Festival. I stop it. You didn't stop anything, she said quietly. Someone attacked you. Strings, he corrected. Cut while I played. Bow across a reel, then snap, snap, snap. He mimed fingers plucking emptiness. Sound died. Silence. I look up, see only coat, dark coat, vanish behind lobster sheds. I chase, trip, hit head. His free hand, scabbed from the fall, shook. They want more than strings, Nora. They want fear. She glanced at Haskins, but the sheriff's face offered no lighthouse beam. Who is they? Luca's eyes slid toward the festival signage. Ask your committee, ask sponsors. Not everyone likes music riding waves. Nora stood. He needs the hospital. Ambulance is en route, an EMT affirmed. Haskins motioned Nora aside. Listen, we can manage the assault investigation, but we've got a bigger mess. The committee's panicking. Between liability insurance and rumors of sabotage, they want assurance the ferries are secure. You know those boats better than anyone. Walk me through safety, sabotage angles, anything. I'll sweep every inch, she said. But Tom, Luca hinted the motive is bigger than random vandalism. The sheriff's moustache twitched. I heard. And I've already got one name in my pocket, Eli Watkins. Nora felt the name drop like ballast. Eli Watkins owned Shoreline Excursions, a tour boat outfit across the bay. He'd lobbied to host the festival on land, claiming wave-rocked decks set fiddlers off rhythm and tourists off balance. The committee refused. Rumour claimed he'd threatened lawsuits over noise permits. I'll start with Eli, Haskins said, but you check your ferries. Understood. Back on the Ida May, Nora grabbed her clipboard and muster sheet, then boarded the twin ferries moored alongside, the Delia Jane and the North Star, whose captains answered to her for festival logistics. In peacetime, Nora loved these inspections. The smell of diesel mingled with oak rosin, musicians practicing scales amid gull cries. Today, each open instrument case felt vulnerable. She combed through engine rooms, wheelhouses, even life jacket lockers, searching for cut wires, loosened rail stanchions, anything hinting sabotage. Nothing. The only strands out of order were the gnawings of rope by salt, everyday wear. Still, unease balled in her gut. Luca's attacker could return any time between tides. By midday, Festival Committee Chairwoman Adeline Mercer summoned her to the dockside operations tent. Adeline, always crisp in nautical striped blazers, now looked as if she'd been pressed between book pages. Nora, she greeted, voice brittle. Thank you for coming. We have a problem of narrative. Story matters more than truth nowadays, Nora asked, sliding into a folding chair. Public perception determines survival. Adeline steepled manicured fingers. Sponsors are threatening to pull if we can't guarantee safety. Could we relocate acts to the shore pavilion? The whole allure is playing aboard the fleet, Nora said. Moving ashore kills the charm, and the ticket premium. Charm doesn't outweigh lawsuits. Nora leaned back. Have you spoken to Eli Watkins? Adeline's eyes flashed. He called this morning, offered to rescue the festival with his catamarans. Coincidence? Perhaps. Do you think... I think Luca's strings were severed. Nora's voice hardened. Strings snap naturally, but not four at once, all clipped flush. Someone wanted a statement. Could Eli be so vile? Nora considered. Rivalry didn't automatically become violence. Still, Eli's ego could float a barge. I'll talk to him, she said. Meanwhile, postpone, don't cancel. Sunset is 4 hours away. Time to right the ship. Outside, the sky bruised deeper grey. Wind sawed halyards against masts. Nora headed for her skiff, a workboat perfect for cutting across the cove to Shoreline Excursions dock. Celia trotted behind her. "Need backup?" the deckhand asked. "Keep the ferries ready," Nora said, "but radio if anything shifts." Minutes later, Nora throttled the skiff through whitecaps, spray stippling her coat. Middleton Island's pine crown faded astern, while the mainland marina with its neon bait and beer sign appeared ahead. She tied off at a slip and found Eli on the porch of his ticket office, polishing sunglasses. "Well, if it isn't the Queen of the Cove," he drawled. "Cut the courtship," she said. "Someone attacked Luca Miraz. Festival's on hold." Eli feigned shock. "Luca? The fiddling scarecrow? That's tragic. Hope he's okay." He slipped the glasses on. "Maybe fate's telling you folks. Put the party ashore like civilized people." "Funny how fate mirrors your interests," Nora replied. "Mind telling me where you were at 8? "Here, prepping boats. Customers will still need tours despite the fiasco." "Anybody vouch?" "My crew, security cameras." He pointed at a lens above the door. "Sheriff's welcome to footage. I've nothing to hide." Nora scanned the marina. A red rowboat, paint peeling, lay upside down, oars missing. A dark coat hung on a piling, drying. Her pulse quickened. She stepped closer. "This yours?" "Lost and found," Eli shrugged. "Tourist left it yesterday." She lifted the coat's sleeve. Tiny frays of horsehair clung to the wool. Bow hair, or perhaps gaff netting. Hard to tell. She photographed it on her phone. Eli watched her. "Try pinning sabotage on me, Nora, and you'll see how fast lawyers can tack windward." She pocketed her phone. "I'll sail by facts, not threats." Leaving the marina, she mulled possibilities. The coat evidence was thin, but suspicion lingered. Back in Carlson Cove, the dock buzzed more angrily. Word of cancellation seemed imminent. Puffy-cheeked tourists questioned volunteers. Musicians flitted like startled sandpipers. Nora climbed aboard the Eda May, throat dry. Celia met her with new intel. Sheriff radioed, "Watkins's security footage confirms he was on the property at 8, but... The camera nearest the dock, where that coat was, flickered out for 10 minutes. "Power surge, they say. Sheriff's not convinced." "Neither am I," Nora murmured. Yet an inner compass warned her. Suspicion can become an undertow pulling away from truth. She needed broader bearings. She climbed to the ferry's top deck where the festival's sound engineers had stacked gear. One of them, Gideon Moss, ex-roadie turned acoustician, was coiling cable with methodical grace. "You tune soundscapes for a living," she said. "Could you tell if strings were cut mid-performance versus snapped by tension?" He stroked his beard. "Sure, cut ends are clean, angle usually jagged from pliers. Snap from tension leaves a curly pigtail." He studied her expression. "Why?" "Need your eyes," she said, escorting him ashore to the evidence bag where Luca's strings resided under deputy supervision. Gideon examined them with a magnifier. "Definitely snipped," he confirmed. "Instrument wire. Hand cutters or maybe fencing pliers." She exhaled. Tools. She pictured the festival's maintenance bench near the dock. Bolt cutters, wire snips, spools of rigging. Anyone could have borrowed them. "Captain," a volunteer jogged over. "We found something behind the porta-johns." He presented a coil of spare violin strings, unopened, tucked inside a ferry maintenance rag. Nora unfolded the rag. It bore the Ida May's stenciled name. Her stomach knotted. Someone wanted suspicion on the ferry crew. But why frame them? Celia radioed from the wheelhouse. "Cap, Luca's awake at the clinic, asking for you again." Nora hurried to the clinic, a clapboard building smelling of iodine and lavender. Luca lay on a cot, forehead stitched, palms bandaged. "I remember more," he whispered. "The coat, dark green, waxed cotton, elbow patches." Nora thought of Eli's black windbreaker, so not the same. Her mental map shifted. Also, smell, tar and cedar, like old docks. Tar and cedar, the fish house, or the repair shed where the festival stored spare planks. She thanked him and left. Outside, Sheriff Haskins joined her. "Autopsy's off the table, luckily," he said. "Luca's stable. What have you found?" "Confusion," she replied, "but also motive, not profit, message. Someone wants the festival to unravel from inside." They walked the wharf. Nora's eyes settled on the festival's souvenir booth. Cedar plank wall panels, burned with Ferry motifs for sale. Tar and cedar, fresh coat of pine tar sealant used on those souvenirs. The booth's builder was Saul Pender, a local carpenter known for protest songs and anti-tourism rants. He believed festivals commodified heritage. She spotted him now, packing crates. "Saul," she called. He stiffened. "Heard you're cancelling. Smart. Town's sold its soul already." "Where were you at 8? "In my workshop." He jutted his chin toward a shack on stilts above the tidal line. "No law against skipping corporate hoedowns." "Mind if we look in your shop?" Haskins asked, badge glinting. Saul crossed his arms. "Got a warrant?" "Not yet," the sheriff said, "but cooperation might keep suspicion off." Saul's nostrils flared. Then he relented, leading them to the shack. Inside, cedar shavings carpeted the floor. The air smelled of turpentine and, Nora's pulse spiked, pine tar. Against a wall sat a bench vise, hand cutters flecked with rosin residue. "Those yours?" Haskins asked. "Tools," Saul said. "I fix things." On a pegboard hung violin strings, various gauges. Nora reached for a spool but paused. Beside it hung a festival badge. "You volunteer?" she asked. "Stagehand," Saul admitted. "Agreed months ago, before the corporate sponsors crawled in." Haskins bagged the cutters. "We'll test for metal residue matching Luca's strings." Saul glowered. "Go ahead. I didn't hurt him." His voice cracked, revealing something soft. "I only meant to silence the corporate stage, not the man." Nora's gaze didn't soften. "Words matter, Saul. When your protest crosses into violence, you lose the melody." He sagged onto a stool. "I left replacement strings in a rag so he could play again after the scare. Wanted symbol, not pain. But he ran after me. I panicked. He fell." Tears welled. "I never touched him." Haskins cuffed him gently. "You're under arrest for assault and vandalism." As the sheriff led Saul out, Nora felt sorrow churn, a signature line overshadowed by dissonance. Saul's misguided activism had nearly drowned a cherished tradition. Evening's apricot glow brushed the horizon when Nora addressed the anxious festival committee. She reported the arrest, Luca's recovery, and the ferry's safety status. "We can restart," she concluded, "or fold. But if we fold, we let one man's fear decide our story." The committee exchanged glances. Adeline stood. "Captain Banks, can we sail under starlight?" Nora smiled. "I've run night crossings in rougher seas." Word spread fast. By sundown, lanterns swayed from rigging, reflecting coins of light across water. Luca, stitches hidden beneath a wool cap, insisted on opening the revived festival. Nora helped him aboard the Ida May's stern stage. Fresh strings glinted silver under lamps. He played a slow air first, bow murmuring apology and resilience. Then he launched into a reel so spirited the deck trembled. Fiddles on neighbouring ferries answered, weaving counter-melodies. Audience members, clustered on planked gangways, stomped along. Nora stood at the wheelhouse rail, wind lifting her cap, heart buoyant. The festival had halved its schedule, yet doubled its meaning. Music, she realized, like seafaring, was an act of trust. Trust that vessels float, that melodies hold, that communities mend. Celia approached with 2 mugs of coffee. "For you, Cap." "Thanks." Nora inhaled the steam. "Keep your bearings tonight, Celia. Truth's currents can change fast." "Learned from the best," Celia said, clinking mugs. Below, Luca's bow arced down for the tune's final flourish. Cheers erupted, echoing across the cove, louder than any rumour, stronger than any severed string. Ferries bobbed in answer, their running lights blinking Morse code approval. For a moment, Carlson Cove was more than harbour and hulls and weathered planks. It was a conversation, a tapestry of notes and waves, stitched together by the steadfast hands of those who refused to let fear scuttle song. And at the centre, Captain Nora Banks, keeper of timetables and truths, piloted the night forward, lantern by lantern, cord by cord, toward a horizon that, despite its obscurities, would always make room for music on the water.